I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna way I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. Rolling, I'll give up everything. Daunting, if I could see my dreams, I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what a reality. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what a reality.
I just wanna find a way out, sick of the venom in my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this. I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once that I so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting, if I can see my dream, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything, want a reality. Rolling, I'll give up everything, daunting, if I can see my dreams, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what
Hey y'all, what's up? Frank, Gail. Hey, After Dark. Unique. FarQ. Yeah, I'm not saying that. How is everyone? Even you lurkers. Hey, wifey. Have y'all heard about this case? It's not like nothing big or nothing, but it got my attention, so here I am. It's about Madison Brooks from Louisiana. Let's see here. Let's get this going a little bit. Shit. Hey, Unique. You're eating again? I'm always eating too. You've been following it? Good, Ella, because you can help me a little bit maybe. I don't really know a lot about it. I do, but I don't, if that makes sense. It's kind of sad. It's really sad, actually. Here, I'm going to start. We're going to start. If I can get my shit together here.
Well, tonight investigators say a young woman from Covington killed after being hit by a car was sexually assaulted before she died. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Devin Bartolotta. For the last week, Baton Rouge police have been investigating how Madison Brooks ended up in the middle of a roadway at 3 in the morning. Tonight, they say 4 young men left her there, but their lawyers are denying the allegations.
Eleanor Tabone is live for us in Baton Rouge with this very, very just tragic story. Eleanor, we learned a lot about this case tonight. What can you tell us?
Devin and Sharice, what we know right now is a 17-year-old, 2 18-year-olds, and a 28-year-old have all been charged with raping 19-year-old Maddie Brooks. And that's before she was hit by a car and then killed. According to police affidavit, Brooks was at Reggie's Bar at Tigerland when she met up with the 4 men. Investigators say that surveillance video shows Brooks getting into the car with them. It's then alleged 2 of the men in the car, the 17-year-old and Kavion Washington, both had sex with her. They then dropped her off near the Pelican Lake subdivision off Burbank Drive. She was then killed a short time later after she wandered into the middle of the road. 2 of the suspects' lawyer, Ronald Haley, says his clients, Kavion Washington and Lee Everett, are innocent. He says a video taken by one of the suspects shows Brooks understood what she was doing at the time. Police records show she had a blood alcohol reading of 0.319%. That's nearly 4 times the legal limit. But according to Louisiana law, someone that's intoxicated cannot give consent. We asked Haley about his client's actions. This is what he had to say. Take a listen.
They didn't rape her. We believe that based on the evidence that we're able to view today, that one of our clients had on his cloud, that she was not in a drunken stupor. What they're accused with right now is third-degree rape. Basically, for layman's terms, third-degree rape means that you cannot consent because you're in a drunken stupor that prevents you from saying yes or no. Based on her body language, based on her words, based on what she was saying, I can sit here firmly on even ground and say that a rape did not occur that evening.
Sharice and Nevin, but according to the arrest affidavit, Haley's client admitted to police that, quote, she was drunk. And the report also sees surveillance video shows her stumbling and falling more than once. Sharice and Devon, the 17-year-old, was booked into the East Baton Rouge Parish Juvenile Detention Center yesterday on account of third-degree rape. Now, Kavion Washington also faces charges of third-degree rape. Carson Carver and Everett Lee, who's the uncle of Washington, were both booked as a principal to third-degree rape. Carver and Lee were in the front seat when the alleged crime happened, according to arrest records. Reporting live in Baton Rouge, Eleanor Tabone, Eyewitness News.
Eleanor, thank you so much. LSU did release a statement saying in part that it appeared to take aim at the bar that served Madison and the suspect's alcohol that night, saying, quote, what happened to Madison was evil and our legal system will parcel out justice. All but one of the suspects involved in this horrific scenario were underage, yet were able to consume alcohol at a local bar. As such, our action plan starts with a deep and relentless focus on any establishment that profits of our students by providing alcohol to underage individuals.
As Eleanor said, Brooks's blood alcohol level, or BAC, was higher than 0.3% when she died. That is extremely high, generally considered alcohol poisoning level. How fast your BAC rises depends on a lot of factors, but 0.3% corresponds to about 8 drinks in 3 hours. So investigators are arguing that Brooks could not give consent.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. We start with a tragedy that's dividing a Louisiana community down racial lines. A 19-year-old LSU student is dead tonight, and 3 men and 1 juvenile have been charged not with her murder, but for allegedly raping the college student before she was run over and killed by an Uber driver. Now, we're examining this case because there are questions. Tonight, we've learned video has been released showing the female victim running up to the car to meet the 4 suspects before they left a bar near LSU's college campus. That bar is called Reggie's. Now, are these guys charged because they raped her or because Louisiana prosecutors want a scapegoat to pay for her death? No matter how you look at it.
Okay, so I've got a little bit of the footage that they released of her, and I don't have a lot. Frank or anybody, Ella, do y'all have any footage of that? I couldn't really find nothing. It is horrific. It's really sad. You don't? That's okay. I have a little bit. I just wanted to show more.
A life has been tragically lost. Let's get to it with the latest from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
What's the status now, and why is the community so divided about this case?
The community is very divided in this case. Right now, we have 4 individuals. 3 of them have bonded out of jail. This week, there is a juvenile who is also accused of raping Madison Brooks. He's being held in juvenile detention right now. This all stems from a situation that happened back on January 15th, where an LSU student was at Reggie's Bar in Tigerland. They were drinking. They'd gotten in. They showed some IDs. We now know that Madison Brooks had showed a fake ID from what our sources are saying. It was someone else's Louisiana wallet ID, an electronic ID, to get in, saying that she was 21. From what our sources are saying, she bought some drinks at the bar, was also drinking around the bar and other people's drinks on tables and things like that. Well, she left with some individuals at the bar that evening. They had gotten in a vehicle, and then she wanted to get out of the car, said she was going to get an Uber. So they let her out of the vehicle, and then they go home. The next morning, they wake up to these headlines that a pedestrian's been hit and killed on Burbank Drive, not far from that bar, and it turned out to be Madison Brooks.
Now, it's our understanding that there was some heavy drinking by all the parties involved, and many of them shouldn't have been in that bar, though, right? They weren't of drinking age, none of them, all 5.
The age to enter a bar in Louisiana is 18, but the age to drink here is obviously 21. So even if they were allowed to be inside that bar, 3 of them should have been eligible, but one of them was under the age of 18. So there's a big question about what ID he showed to get in. But the point is 3 of them were able to get into the bar, and it sounds like everyone was drinking. Her BAC, according to hospital records that we were able to read from the affidavit, was a 0.319. And when you speak to toxicologists and other people in the science community, they say that is extremely high, almost a lethal level. We did see some of the videos that some of these young men had filmed while they were in the backseat of that vehicle. They filmed a lot of videos back there. And it certainly appears that she's engaging in conversation. She's talking to all the people back there. Certainly did not appear that she was being held against her will. They're charged with third-degree rape. And in Louisiana, that particular portion of the statute is that she was too intoxicated to consent. So that is going to be the big factor here, whether or not those videos prove that she was too intoxicated, to consent, or whether or not you have experts coming in saying that BAC would absolutely mean there's no way she could have consented to having sex with these individuals.
And of course, you had a chance to view those videos. Did it look like she was under duress or being held against her will? What was her behavior like?
The videos that I watched that were provided to us from the lawyers absolutely did not look like she was in any sort of duress. I mean, she was obviously speaking to the individuals involved. She had asked to be released from the vehicle because she wanted to get an Uber, so they let her out where she wanted to get out. They had actually brought her to 3 different addresses. That's in the video as well, where she had told them to bring her. And then it turned out to, I guess, not be her home. And so, I mean, she's obviously communicating with all of them, talking to them. And so at no point in the videos that I saw did it appear that she was being held against her will in any way, shape, or form. But what prosecutors, I think, are going to hinge on is this 3rd-degree rape statute and whether or not her level of intoxication would have made the sex consensual or not. They're saying with that level of intoxication, she couldn't have consented.
Now, we have in this case where she was killed, but she wasn't in any way killed by these guys. She got out of the car on Burbank where she was hit by another vehicle. Do you think prosecutors and those in the community just want somebody to pay for her death? And rape would be an easy way to that, if that is the case.
That is certainly a valid, conclusion that you can draw. But at the end of the day, the driver who hit her isn't facing any charges because he stopped. He was not impaired. He was actually an Uber driver of all people, and he hit her. She was just in the middle of the road. But the community is outraged. You see this pretty girl who went to LSU. She was in a sorority. By all accounts, she was a good student. The president of the university says she was a respected member of the LSU community, and she winds up dead after a night of heavy drinking. So his whole focus has shifted to trying to target some of these bars who are serving some of these kids who are underage. And just this week in Louisiana, the State Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control temporarily suspended the license for Reggie's to operate over her death. So
now, Reggie's is a bar and has quite a track record there in Baton Rouge, especially with violations.
That's right. And, it kind of opened the floodgates after her death. We kind of had a lot more complaints about it. But the owners of Reggie's, the lawyer for Reggie's, they're all cooperating with the State Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control. They've given them every single piece of video that they have in the bar. And from what we're being told by some of those owners is that it showed her buying the drinks. It showed her dancing with a number of people in there and also drinking drinks that were on tables and things like that for drinks that she didn't even buy. So at some point you have to question, is there some level of personal accountability on an adult, who's 18, who can register to vote, who can make decisions that way. But, people obviously are trying to victim blame, but at the same time, too, people here want to see somebody held accountable because no one at the age of 19 should die, especially under circumstances like this.
Back to the Factor Uncensored. We're continuing our coverage of the death of LSU student Madison Brooks. The rape allegations that have come out of this investigation are also putting a spotlight on Louisiana's longtime racial divide. Take a listen.
And Chris, what's obvious in this case, in the feel I get from Baton Rouge is this is, yes, a pretty white girl. The suspects, 3 black males, 1 white male, and somebody wants someone to pay for this pretty white girl who was killed. And so these guys could be seen as easy targets. So it's my understanding Madison had an encounter with a white male in the car who was the actual driver, and you talked to the attorney about that. And according to the attorney, she wanted to have sex with him, according to the attorney. And when he did not, called him gay and said, what else did she say about him?
The attorney says that she slapped him.
Slapped him and called him gay.
That's correct.
Because he refused to have sex with her. And I think we have some sound from that attorney.
Using very vulgar language to the driver of the vehicle, insulting the driver of the vehicle, implying that the driver of the vehicle is not straight based on him not wanting to engage in certain activities with her. Again, it doesn't put anybody in the best light. But again, not being put in the best light, this is the same thing as rape.
So, Chris, there is a racial divide in Baton Rouge in Louisiana over this case.
That's right. And I think ultimately, we had a judge who set the bonds this week. And so that's just the judge who's setting the bonds. When this goes before a judge who actually hears the case, from what I'm being told, they're going to ask the judge to say, hey, look, judge, there's no probable cause here. And if a judge determines that there was no probable cause for the arrest of these young men, it raises questions about whether this case can even proceed forward because, there was no probable cause and these men were arrested. When you see these videos, based off of what the attorney just said, it raises questions again. Was she held against her will? Was she a willing participant? Was she intoxicated to such a level that she could not consent or wasn't in her right mind? And those are all questions that experts, toxicologists, and a judge and a jury will have to ultimately decide.
Very difficult case and a tough case for the community there. Chris Nakamoto with WBRZ investigative reporter. Thank you again for bringing us this important information and this conversation that's going on there. Thank you, sir.
Good evening to you, friends. I'm Greg Merriweather. We've got breaking news here at 6. WFB has just obtained this video. It apparently shows Madison Brooks leaving the Tigerland bar, Reggie's, on the night that she was killed. So that's her there in one of those circles. She appears to chase after the men that were walking in that first circle that you saw. So this is another shot across the road there. That's the old Circle K near Tigerland. That is the group, according to sources. Madison Brooks walking with the group as they continue to leave there again that night that all of this happened. Two of the guys are accused of eventually raping her after they dropped her off, after then eventually she was hit by a car on Burbank. Now, Reggie's liquor license was suspended. One of the underage suspects told police that the group was drinking at the bar that night. So now 3 of those suspects have now bonded out of jail. The 18-year-old Kayvon Washington was booked with third-degree rape. He's now posted a $150,000 bond this morning. Everett Lee and Kaysen Carver have already bonded out of jail. They face principal to third-degree rape charges. A 17-year-old boy who's also facing rape charges remains in jail. His bond hearing is set for next month. Defense attorneys say their clients engaged in consensual sex with Brooks before they dropped her off along Burbank Drive, where she was eventually hit by a car and later died. Police say Brooks was drunk when she left Reggie's bar in the Baton Rouge area right here with the suspects, and they say that she had a blood alcohol level nearly 4 times the legal limit. We'll, of course, keep following this.
Sorry, my dogs are going crazy. Freaking UPS is out here. This here is the press conference for this. Oh, thank you, Allie. I love you. This next one is the press conference that they had for this. It's really sad. I think it was just a freak accident, in my opinion. I don't think them boys hurt her like that. I mean, they might have hurt her, but I know that's bad. I don't know. Talk shit now, Frank. I love you, Allie. But this is the press conference.
She is seen on video leaving the car unharmed and in good health. This will be confirmed by video at a later date. Now, this is a very important clarification. The video taken in the car is only a conversation between the parties and do not depict any sexual acts. That was not specified when it was mentioned previously. For any fault of ours, we apologize. As the facts of this case continue to come forth, we believe that intent and consent will be very clear. While we understand that the media has a duty to inform the public, we will not release these videos now. We're working with the DA and will allow the judicial process to take place. Again, we will not try this case in the court of public opinion or in the media. While this is a horrible tragedy resulting in a horrific accident, we truly believe the facts will prove that this was not a rape. We meet here only today to correct the record on some of the allegations that have been made against our clients. We hope that the public will understand and that we cannot and will not share everything that we have, both out of duty as officers of the court and out of respect for the victim's family. Now at this time, I'm going to invite Attorney Long up with me, and we'll take any questions that the media has.
Questions, please.
The other video that you mentioned, Attorney Daly, about the conversation between your client and Ms. Brooks, can you talk about the timeline for this picture? Was that after the encounter? I know it doesn't show the sexual encounter, but is that after that it happened?
Yes, it is.
Can you all talk about how law enforcement went from investigating a crash death to turning this into a rape investigation?
You'll have to talk to the sheriff's office about that. We don't know what led them to do this. We have our ideas, but we're not going to speculate.
Can you speak to the video that was released late last night about all the parties leaving the bar around, I think, 1:50 last night? Can you kind of talk a little bit about that video?
We didn't release the video. That was, I think that was WBRZ that released the video, but it confirms what we've said all along, that my clients left, my client and their clients all left, and they were getting ready to leave. And Ms. Brooks approached them from the bar. And I think the video is the best evidence of what happened, but it's consistent with what our clients have always told the police. Anything else?
Mr. Haley, you mentioned verbal consent was obtained. I mean, the law enforcement records are clear that Ms. Brooks had a very high blood alcohol content at 0.319. How do you, how can you obtain verbal consent from someone who's that intoxicated?
Well, I will say this, that we plan on hiring expert witnesses. If anyone does any casual research on what a 0.319 is, that is alcohol poisoning and potential death, based on her actions that evening leading up to getting into the car with the young man. Based on the fact that information from Reggie's have come out to say that she did not have any other alcoholic beverage from around 12:50 to the time that she left, gives us reason to believe that the results of that
those results are inaccurate.
And I would just add that if you have a .319, your motor skills shut your body down. You can't walk. You can't talk. You're lapsing in and out of blackout, and you risk death. Read it. Read the symptoms of a .319 BAC. The evidence that we've seen so far on the video of Miss Brooks running across the street in front of Reggie's, that undermines the police version of events. And until our experts can look at what happened, we believe that the BAC that they're saying is inaccurate.
Can you explain the charges that Jack Grimes is facing?
Yeah, two of them, Mr. Washington, who was in the front seat, and Mr. Carver, who was in the front seat, they have been charged with principal to third-degree rape, which means they aided or abetted or assisted the other two men in the rape. The other two men, the juvenile and Mr. Lee, correct, are charged with third-degree rape, which means, Mr. Washington, they're charged with third-degree rape, which means that they had sex with her and she could not legally consent because of a condition of alcoholic stupor. And if you read alcoholic stupor, it says very much like the 319 says. It says in and out of consciousness, incapable of talking, of walking. And we don't believe that the evidence that we have, which we will show when the time is right, shows that she's in an alcoholic stupor at all, that she is aware of her surroundings. And we don't think that the state can prove that there was a crime here.
Staying on those charges, prosecutors said they wanted to possibly upgrade those charges to first-degree rape, first-degree principal to rape. What's your response to that?
That's not what was said. If you were at the bail hearing, you know, you can get a transcript of it and find out what he really said. I'm not going to speak for the DA on that, but he did not say he was going to upgrade him to first degree.
Well, he said based on what evidence comes out, it's a possibility. I spoke with him after the fact.
What do you have to prove first-degree rape? You have to prove that it was non-consensual, right? There's no in there about alcoholic stupor and first-degree rape. You have to prove that it was non-consensual. They would have a very difficult time proving any of that. But the DA is going to do whatever they can. They can charge you with whatever. We are confident that whatever charges end up being on our clients, that we were going to prevail.
So was your client drinking as well?
Well, any conversation that I have with my client, I'm not going to share with the media. Okay? But they did go to a bar, so you got common sense.
Well, I mean, a lot of people go to the bar. Some people don't even drink. They just go because they like going out. If she was drinking, they was drinking. They saying that she didn't know her hand what she was doing. They could do the same thing with your clients, right?
I'm not going to answer about what my client was doing, but thank you for the question.
What do you? Go ahead, sorry.
What do you have to say about other women that have said that they've also been raped by Washington?
I didn't know anything about that, but I can just tell you this: did they go to the police? Were they arrested? Were they indicted? Were they tried? We're not going to argue. We're not going to argue about hypotheticals and rumors. All we know is if there was any credible evidence that any of our clients had done anything like that, it would have come out in the bail hearing.
Do you mind speaking a little bit more to the videos that y'all are withholding?
We're not going to speak with it at this time, and you have to understand that we cannot give you all of our strategy at this time. It's very early on in the case, but I promise you that when we make the decision to release it, we'll release it. And when you see it, or when a reasonable jury sees it, they will know for sure that this was not a rape.
Can you all speak to what role defending this case in the unusual situation of having a sexual assault victim who's no longer alive will play in your defense?
Well, that's an interesting question. We believe if Ms. Brooks was alive, this would not be a crime. She would not have complained about it at all. And so the only reason it's there is because the understandable anger in the community wants someone to pay for her death. We understand that, but our clients did not do that.
Any other questions before we conclude?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Odom, did you listen? You don't want? Okay, never mind. For further media inquiries, we have Andrea Brooks here. She's going to handle if anybody wants a card for any further. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. All right, thank you.
And there's that. You love me, Frank. Let's see here. Make sure I got everything I wanted to. There's really not a lot on that. Let's see here. Yeah, that's all I've got on it. Aw, Frank was him's a crying. Him's crying, Allie. Him's a crying. I'm gonna talk about your wiener, Frank. Is that what you want to talk about? What you're mad about? We ain't talking about it. Y'all are nuts. Hey, I'm going to end this one though, because I want to keep it on topic and short. And I'm going to go live on my backup channel. And we can talk over there. Okay? Sound good? Frank can harass you over there. Frank's just a big bully. All right, I'll see y'all over there in like 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Love y'all. Bye. Thank you for coming.